We've all been there, sat in the cinema with anticipation and excitement, only to feel that when the credits have rolled that there was something missing. Not necessarily the small stuff, as no movie is ever truly perfect, but something big, something obvious. The direction of a film story can seemingly be heading in a very specific direction, only for no payoff to come. Subverting expectations and avoiding any kind of predictability is one thing, but it can be truly mystifying when such absolute no-brainers are ignored. So with that in mind, I'm Ellie with What Culture here with the 10 biggest missed opportunities in recent movies. Number 10, including Elena Fisher, Uncharted. After spending so long in development hell that Mark Wahlberg literally grew too old to play his original role, Sony was finally able to release Uncharted in 2022, with Tom Holland stepping in to play the part of Nathan Drake. As far as video game adaptations go, it was a fun but flawed outing, and there was one fundamental aspect that needed to be different, namely the inclusion of Elena Fisher. In the game series, Elena is as important to the story and the franchise itself as either Drake or Sully, and her omission from the big screen is a real head-scratcher. While Chloe Fraser was seemingly utilised instead of Elena, there is no reason that both characters couldn't have played meaningful roles, as was the case through both Uncharted 2 Among Thieves and Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception. The likelihood is that Elena will be in Sony's Uncharted plans eventually should a sequel be developed, and there are certain things that point to said sequel working as a loose adaptation of the first game, Drake's Fortune, in which Elena and Nate first meet. However, while Uncharted did surprisingly well at the box office, mixed reviews mean a second outing is far from guaranteed. Elena simply should have just been there from the very beginning. Number 9, a Halloween release, Haunted Mansion. Disney has been having a tough time of things when it comes to cinematic releases in recent years. Whether Marvel, Pixar, Indiana Jones, or another remake of a Disney animation classic, the franchise has seen too many of its recent outings flop, either critically, commercially, or both. Add to this disappointingly long list Haunted Mansion. Based on the Disneyland attraction of the same name and boasting a genuinely incredible cast featuring the likes of Lakeith Stanfield, Owen Wilson, Rosario Dawson, Jamie Lee Curtis, and more, this could have been a huge hit. There are likely plenty of reasons why it ultimately flopped, grossing just over $100 million worldwide. But one of the most glaring is the fact that the supernatural horror movie was released in July. Surely this was made to be a Halloween flick. Who wants to see something like this in the summer? Aside from the obvious reasons why an October release would have been more favourable for a film called Haunted Mansion, the Barbenheimer phenomenon of July 2023 all but guaranteed that no one was going to see it. Disney really didn't help themselves with this one. Number 8, going all in on an insane premise, Cocaine Bear. There are some movies that can hook you in immediately with nothing more than an intriguing title. For obvious reasons, Cocaine Bear fits this bill. Hell, it's damn near the top of the list. Who wouldn't want to see the fallout of a cocaine-fueled bear rampage? The exceptional marketing campaign promised such madness, but ultimately Cocaine Bear fell short of these expectations. The film wasn't terrible by any stretch, but there was just so much more that could have been done with the premise. For a lot of its runtime, it was actually the human characters that took up more of the focus than the bear, when clearly the latter was the big draw. The development of human characters shouldn't exactly be a high priority in a story like this. It should be about the bear. It's the same issue that has bothered several MonsterVerse outings, where people took far too much attention away from Godzilla and King Kong battering each other. Though Elizabeth Banks did deliver on what the title promised, it could have gone up several levels in terms of intensity, horror, and sheer insanity. Number 7, Chris Evans and Ana de Armas's chemistry, Ghosted. Chris Evans and Ana de Armas have found themselves working together frequently over the last few years. After first appearing in Knives Out, the two would collaborate again on The Grey Man in 2022 and Ghosted in 2023. Rian Johnson's first Benoit Blanc mystery gained almost universal praise thanks to many different aspects, and one such being the performances and chemistry of Evans and de Armas. It would have been reasonable to expect similar fireworks in both The Grey Man and Ghosted, but it simply wasn't to be. Both films released to largely negative reviews. Though both actors were rare highlights throughout The Grey Man, their chemistry never got a chance to shine as the two barely shared the screen together. Surely things would be better in Ghosted though, right, with them both taking on lead roles. But unfortunately, the rapport that the two clearly have was nowhere to be seen in their third project together, with certain parts of the internet going so far as to wonder if they were ever actually on set at the same time. Based on Knives Out, Chris Evans and Ana de Armas could clearly carry a romantic spy comedy together, but for whatever reason, Ghosted fell completely short of what it could have been. Number 6, a proper goodbye to Rocky Balboa Balboa, Creed 3. Rocky Balboa is nothing short of an icon in cinema and is arguably the greatest character in Sylvester Stallone's extensive filmography. After 6 movies with Rocky at the center, the focus of the franchise moved to Apollo's son Adonis in 2015 with the release of Creed. But Rocky still had a role to play. After battling health issues in Creed and ghosts of his past in Creed 2, Rocky was finally able to reconcile with his son and spend some time with his grandson at the end of the sequel. With Donnie moving across the country for Creed 3, there was at least a believable reason for Rocky not to appear. Behind the scenes, Stallone walked away from the production due to creative differences and a feud with longtime Rocky producer Irwin Winkler, meaning that there was no sign of Rocky in what could very well have been the final Rocky film. The Italian stallion's name was only mentioned once as a comparison to Donnie giving Damien a shot like his dad did in the original Rocky. With this in mind, it feels like the film should have at least been able to give Rocky Balboa a proper goodbye, even if it wasn't a big role. There are even ways this could have been done without Stallone being involved at all, which would have been better than absolutely nothing. With a 4th Creed movie reportedly in development, here's hoping that Stallone will get another shot to part ways with the Rocky franchise on better terms. Number 5. The Asgardians of the Galaxy, Thor: Love and Thunder. When Avengers Endgame closed the door on 10 years of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it also had to go some way towards paving the road for the coming years. One character that benefited from this was Thor, who was seen leaving Earth with the Guardians of the Galaxy. The dynamic between the God of Thunder and the Guardians, as seen in Avengers Infinity War, was incredibly enjoyable, and the tease of seeing more of them together made the prospect of a 4th Thor movie tantalizing. When Star-Lord and co were actually confirmed to be appearing in Thor: Love and Thunder, things got exciting. However, the 4th Thor outing didn't give audiences more adventures from the Asgardians of the Galaxy, so much as it almost felt like the MCU's secondary team was an obstacle Taika Waititi had to get out of the way before he could continue with his story. Amazingly, the movie didn't benefit from including them at all. Of course, it wouldn't have been realistic to expect the Guardians to have a prominent role in the movie, but they could have been utilized alongside Thor so much better. Love and Thunder had some of the franchise's most popular characters at its fingertips, and it completely wasted them with bland, generic dialogue and a story that completely wasted what had limitless potential. Number 4. Exploring what Fallen Kingdom set up, Jurassic World Dominion. Jurassic Park is one of those franchises that has steadily declined since the release of the original. None of the subsequent movies have come close to recapturing the magic from 1993, and you could argue that 2022's Jurassic World Dominion was further from the mark than any of them. After Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom disappointed, Dominion shifted the focus of the story, for some reason, from dinosaurs to killer locusts, and brought back the original trio of Sam Neill, Laura Dern and Jeff Goldblum, only to waste them completely. This would have been bad enough, even without the fact that Fallen Kingdom set the scene perfectly for a far better story. After Owen, Claire and Maisie set the beast free from Lockwood's estate, there were now dinosaurs roaming the earth without fences or oceans between them and human beings. Everyone was going to have to learn to live together. Just think of the stories this new world could have inspired. Jurassic World Dominion was seemingly going to be about the battle to be the dominant species on Earth, but while there were glimmers of these creatures in the wild, it didn't really have anything to do with the main narrative. Instead, audiences were given a painfully dull film about locusts that may well have killed the franchise for good. Number 3. LGBTQIA+ representation, No Time to Die. Despite being one of the biggest and longest running cinematic franchises in history, James Bond has consistently been hampered by something of a toxic streak towards women and other marginalized groups. There hasn't really been a great amount of strong female characters or diversity in 007's world. With No Time to Die, the 25th Bond flick set itself up with a great opportunity to offer more representation than ever before in the form of Q. It was revealed that the character was the first of Bond's main allies to be confirmed as gay, but then there was nothing really done with it. During a conversation with Daniel Craig's Bond in No Time to Die, Q said that he had a date and was waiting for him to arrive. That was it. No further development of Q's character or exploration of this part of his life. The movie had the opportunity to delve more into Q's backstory and provide a vital corrective contribution to the franchise's history of gay characters, but it stopped frustratingly short. Q actor Ben Whishaw was himself left slightly disappointed by this aspect of the film, particularly being in a franchise where this kind of representation has been so lacking over the years. Number 2. The return of Michael Keaton's Batman, The Flash. In a world where the likes of Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Sir Patrick Stewart have all returned to their Marvel roles after years away, and with Hugh Jackman and potentially others set to follow suit in Deadpool 3, it truly feels like anything is possible in comic book movies right now. Warner Brothers and DC got in on this nostalgic action in 2023 by bringing back Michael Keaton to play Bruce Wayne for the first time in over 30 years. This was huge, and if utilized correctly, could have brought something special to a disappointing stretch from the comic book giants. Unfortunately, his return wasn't well implemented at all. By all accounts, Keaton was one of the highlights of the underwhelming Flash movie. But both he and his iteration of Bruce Wayne were wasted in and among the hot mess that was Barry Allen's solo movie. After bombing both critically and commercially, there's no guarantee that Michael Keaton will be down for any more appearances as Batman. And if this is to be his final showing, it could have been so much more. Number 1. Presenting Kang as a real threat, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. What the Marvel Cinematic Universe did with Thanos was nothing short of a masterclass in creating an exceptional villain. The Mad Titan has become something of a modern-day Darth Vader, and now the franchise has given itself the almost impossible job of building Kang the Conqueror up to fill those shoes. That in itself now remains a doubt, with Jonathan Majors' off-screen issues prompting talk of recasts and even a switch to make the next main MCU villain Doctor Doom. Of course, Kang is a phenomenal villain in the source material in his own right, but that doesn't always translate so well to the screen. There is still a lot of work to be done in crafting him as a believable big bad worthy of the title. Loki on Disney Plus has done a stellar job in portraying the threat of a multiversal war brought by the variants of He Who Remains, but this was not matched by Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. This was Kang's real MCU debut, and it kind of fizzled out without much fanfare. This iteration of the Conqueror was supposed to be the most dangerous of all, so dangerous in fact that the Council of Kangs banished him outside of both time and space. So why was the supposed deadliest version of the character so easily beaten by Ant-Man? To truly announce the villain as a worthy successor to Thanos, it would have made far more sense for him to emerge from his first MCU scuffle victorious. And that concludes our list. Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below, and while you're there, don't forget to like and subscribe and tap that notification bell. Also, head over to Twitter and follow us there, and I can be found across various social medias just by searching Ellie Littlechild. I've been Ellie with What Culture. I hope you have a magical day, and I'll see you real soon.